In the fall of 2018, Lauren McCluskey embodied the promise of a college athlete. A senior at the University of Utah, she was a standout on the women's track and field team, specifically celebrated for her skill in the high jump. Her journey to this point was marked by discipline and success. She had been a state champion in Washington and turned down multiple scholarships before choosing Utah. Beyond the track, she was a communications major with a bright future, known for maintaining a high GPA while fully embracing university life. Friends and family described Lauren as a uniquely kind and sensitive person whose confidence had grown through athletics. Her parents, Matt and Jill, saw in her the same determined spirit she'd shown as a child, fearlessly climbing trees. As her final year began, Lauren's world was one of routine and achievement. Early morning practices, challenging classes, and weekends spent with her tight-knit group of friends. It was during one of these typical social outings that her path fatally diverged. On Saturday, September 1st, Lauren and her friends went to a popular bar in downtown Salt Lake City. There, she met a man who worked as a bouncer. He was charming and attentive. He told Lauren his name was Sean Fields. He said he was 28 years old, a student at Salt Lake Community College, and that he had served in the military. Lauren was intrigued. They exchanged numbers, and he quickly became a part of her campus life. He visited her at her dormitory, got to know her roommates, and frequently took her out for dinners, often arriving with flowers. To Lauren, who was flattered by the attention, this seemed like the beginning of a normal, exciting new relationship during her last year of school. Beneath the surface of this new romance, troubling patterns quickly emerged. Lauren's friends, who saw her daily, were the first to notice a change. The charming and attentive Sean began to reveal a controlling nature. He voiced strong, unsolicited opinions about who Lauren spent time with and what she chose to wear. His temper flared if she missed his call or was slow to respond to a text, a reaction that felt disproportionate and alarming. In moments that struck her friends as deeply strange, he gave Lauren pepper spray, insisting she needed it for protection from other men. Even took her to a shooting range on a date and discussed buying her a gun, framing it as a safety measure. Her friends saw her less and less, and when they did, she seemed preoccupied and less like her usual vibrant self. The concern among her inner circle grew tangible. It culminated on October 2nd, when Lauren's friend and housing advisor, Diamond Jackson, took formal action. Deeply worried, Jackson emailed her university supervisor. She explicitly warned of a potentially dangerous relationship, detailing that Lauren's non-resident boyfriend was frequently staying in her dorm, had spoken about purchasing a firearm, and was tracking Lauren's movements. The email stressed that Lauren's friends were worried for her well-being and that Lauren herself seemed to be declining. Yet, in the busy rhythm of campus life, this warning email failed to trigger any immediate intervention or wellness check. The system remained static, while the danger to Lauren was becoming increasingly dynamic. Meanwhile, a visit home to Washington would soon provide Lauren with the hard evidence her intuition had already sensed, shattering the illusion completely and revealing the man behind the carefully constructed mask. During a break in early October, Lauren McCluskey returned to the safety of her family home in Pullman, Washington. It was here, away from the intensity of campus in her boyfriend's presence, that she made a discovery that changed everything. She found his Utah driver's license. The plastic card revealed a devastating double life. The photograph was of the man she knew, but the name printed was not Sean Fields. It read, Melvin Sean Rowland. More shocking was the date of birth, 1981. He was not 28, he was 37 years old. He had lied about his name and his age by nearly a decade. Armed with this real name, Lauren, likely with a sinking heart, searched for him online. The results were worse than any fear. Public records and court documents identified Melvin Rowland as a registered sex offender. In 2004, he had been convicted of attempted forcible sex abuse and enticing a minor over the internet. He had served 9 years in the Utah State Prison and was currently on state parole. The charming bouncer was a convicted predator with a history of targeting a teenager. The gravity of the deception was absolute.
Lauren immediately called her mother, Jill, and told her everything. She stated clearly that she would end the relationship as soon as she returned to Salt Lake City. Her priority was a safe exit. However, a practical problem complicated this plan. Melvin still had her car. He had borrowed it before she left for Washington. This meant Lauren had to see him one more time to retrieve her property, placing her in a vulnerable position where she would need to confront the liar and felon she now knew him to be. She resolved to get the car back, end it firmly, and be done. She believed a clear final statement would sever the tie. She could not yet know that for a man like Melvin Rowland, her rejection was not an end, but a trigger. His pattern was not to walk away, but to escalate, to punish, and to reclaim control by any means necessary. Upon returning to Utah, Lauren confronted Melvin Rowland in her dorm room on October 9th. She presented his driver's license and demanded an explanation. He admitted his real name and age and did not deny his criminal record, but he desperately tried to minimize it, claiming the incident was an old misunderstanding with a girl who lied about her age at a college party. Despite this confrontation and her clear intent to leave him, Rowland spent the night in her dorm. The next day, he borrowed her car again. Alarmed by this ongoing contact, Lauren's mother, Jill, called University of Utah police from Washington at 3:01 p.m. on October 10th, requesting a safety escort for Lauren to retrieve her car. Later, a security escort did drive her to get her car after Rowland dropped it off. Lauren formally ended the relationship, but Rowland's response was immediate harassment. 2 days later, on October 12th, Lauren received bizarre texts from unknown numbers claiming Rowland was dead, then that he was alive, then asking if she wanted to attend his funeral. She called campus police again, reporting someone was trying to lure her. She was told an officer would call back, but no one did. The situation exploded on October 13th. Lauren received a demand for $1,000 with a threat to post explicit photos of her and Rowland online. Terrified, she paid via Venmo. She then went straight to the campus police station with a friend. She reported the extortion to one officer, Miguel Darris, providing Rowland's real name and criminal history. The officers seemed dismissive, suggesting it was likely a scam. Lauren went ahead to file a report. The case was assigned to Detective Kayla Dalliff, who was not in at the time. No one checked Rowland's parole status. A single call to his parole officer would have meant his immediate arrest, but that call was never made.
While Lauren awaited police action, Melvin Rowland was not waiting at all. Unbeknownst to her, he was actively stalking her on campus. This chilling reality was only pieced together later from security footage. On October 19th, the same day police finally opened an extortion case, cameras captured a figure in a full Deadpool costume walking outside Lauren's dorm at 3:16 p.m. At 4:02 p.m., Lauren was seen entering her building. At 4:03 p.m., the same costumed figure appeared right outside the entrance. He was tracking her movements in real time. The stalking intensified on Monday, October 22nd. Video shows Rowland leaving his apartment at 6:06 a.m., borrowing a neighbor's silver Buick, and parking near Lauren's dorm by 6:26 a.m. Lauren left for her day at 9:11 a.m. That morning, she received another threatening text, this one impersonating a campus police deputy chief, trying to lure her to the station. She recognized it as fake and reported it to Officer Darris. Impersonating an officer is a felony and a direct parole violation. This should have triggered an urgent manhunt, but it did not. Lauren later attended a counseling appointment, then track practice, then a night class. Security video shows Rowland entered the counseling building just 9 minutes after she left. Most shockingly, while Lauren was out, Rowland was inside her residence hall. He was invited in by another student and spent hours there. He showed students a black drawstring bag. When one guessed it contained a gun, he smiled and said yes. He told them he was a Marine waiting for his girlfriend, Lauren, to finish practice. He left the dorm at 8:10 p.m. Lauren's class ended early. At 8:20 p.m., she was walking back, on the phone with her mother, Jill, happily talking about a school assignment. She was steps from her door.
Then her parents heard her scream, "No, no, no," and the line went silent. Matt McCluskey called 911. Witnesses reported gunshots. The campus erupted in lockdown alerts, describing a 37-year-old male suspect. In Washington, her parents waited, praying. The call that came was from Lauren's coach, bearing the devastating news they already feared. Following the murder, the timeline revealed how close authorities had come to intervening. After shooting Lauren, Melvin Rowland fled and was picked up by a woman he had met on a dating app. Just minutes after killing Lauren, he was on a date with her, showering at her home to wash off evidence. He was later tracked to a church, where he died by suicide as police closed in.
Official investigations exposed systemic failures. The campus police were understaffed, the parole check system failed, and Lauren's reports were not prioritized. In a crushing blow to her parents, University President Ruth Watkins stated weeks later that the tragedy could not have been prevented. This defiance of the facts prompted Matt and Jill McCluskey to fight back. They testified for new campus safety laws and filed a $56 million lawsuit against the university. During this process, an even more personal betrayal surfaced. In 2020, it was reported that Officer Miguel Darris, who took Lauren's extortion report, had saved her private photos to his personal phone. He showed them to colleagues, calling Lauren a cute girl and boasting he could view them any time. This misconduct was not reported until after he left the department. He was later fired from his new police job. The university's position finally shifted under pressure. On the 2-year anniversary of Lauren's death in October 2020, they settled with her parents for $13.5 million. Crucially, they now admitted publicly for the first time that Lauren's murder was preventable. The majority of the funds were dedicated to the Lauren McCluskey Foundation, established by her parents to combat campus violence. This admission and the settlement were not about money for the McCluskeys. They were about accountability in creating a legacy of change from an unthinkable loss. The legal battle had forced the institution to acknowledge the truth her parents had known all along. The system failed, and their daughter should still be alive. Lauren McCluskey's legacy is now a living force for safety and accountability. Her parents, Matt and Jill, ensured the settlement funds fueled the Lauren McCluskey Foundation, dedicated to preventing dating violence and stalking on campuses nationwide. Its cornerstone is Lauren's Promise, a simple vow for students, faculty, and staff to sign, pledging to listen to and believe anyone who reports abuse. This promise directly counters the indifference Lauren faced. Her story has physically reshaped the campuses she loved. The University of Utah will build a new indoor track facility named in her honor, giving athletes a safe place to train at night. Beyond Utah, her influence spread. The University of Idaho, where she trained as a young athlete, named its track in her memory. In her hometown of Pullman, Washington, the Humane Society where she volunteered opened a new cat wing bearing her name. These spaces keep her spirit of kindness and determination alive. For Matt and Jill McCluskey, no reform can ever fill the void left by their daughter, but they have dedicated their lives to ensuring her death forces a lasting reckoning. Lauren's story is no longer just a true crime case, it is a catalyst for a national conversation about institutional responsibility. It stands as a stark record of what happens when repeated warnings are ignored, and a powerful reminder that the promise to protect students must be more than just words. Her name is now synonymous with the fight to make campuses safer, proving that even in the face of profound failure, a legacy of change can be built. Thank you for coming with me on this deep dive. If you enjoyed this story, do well to leave a like. See you on the next one.